going to keep it between us and see how things go. And he's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just so excited about it. I'm just so happy to be a married man. I'm just so happy to have a beautiful wife. I just think you're amazing. You're the most amazing woman that I ever met. And I just want to tell everybody about it. There was no way I was going to let you. I just had to, I had to wipe you up. I couldn't just let you go. So we get to the church, and the reverend brings his wife with him. So before we start the officiating process, I go use the restroom. The wife also is in the restroom with me. And so it sparks up conversation, and she was telling me how her and her husband had only known each other for 3 months, and they got married, and they had been married for 30 years. And she was just giving me old school advice about marriage. But she also told me to not lose myself in the marriage and to always be the center of my marriage and don't make him the center of my marriage. And so I held on to that, and I've always said that a man is not going to be the center of my universe. But I held on to that, and so we get up there, and he starts the officiating process. So we go through the officiating process, and the wife that I mentioned earlier is recording this, so I still have a copy of it. So we didn't write out any vows or anything like that. It was just the standard vows or whatever. So we go through that process. We have dinners scheduled after that for he and I, so a private little upscale dinner for he and I. He also was not wanting me to have a certain type of ring. So we go to the jewelry store. Well, he goes to the jewelry store, and there are other stores in the area. So while he's at the jewelry store, I'm in the other area shopping, looking at other stuff. So he comes out with the ring, puts the ring on my finger, all of that. So we go out, get the food, and then we go get line and stuff after that to go back to his house to talk about where we want to go for the honeymoon and taking a trip. And so it was great. I will say I was kind of, what the hell have I done? What made me do this? Not that I thought it was a bad idea. It's just I'm an overthinker, and I told y'all I had been proposed to several other times, and I said no. And so in my mind, I'm like, why did I tell this man yeah? But again, the man is successful. He has his own everything, seemingly. And I was just doing something. I also want to clear that up, and I want to make sure that I'm using my words correctly. Now, when I said I take the situation serious, by no means did I mean I was out to see what I could get or mistreating him or nothing like that. That's not what I meant. I am a very kind person, and I would never intentionally do something to harm someone or anything like that. If you had a conversation with any of my exes, they'll tell you. I'm a very kind person. When I'm in that role, I do what needs to be done. However, again, I'm just not the type of woman that's just going to fall down over a man. I take men at face value. If that's what you said, cool. I let the chips fall where they may. I'm not going to fall and just be head over heels and just act like I don't see what's going on and I don't take you for what you are. And when you start showing me who you are, putting things in my mind and say, no, that can't be it. I take men for who they are. And I'm very intuitive. And because of that, it doesn't allow me to become so engulfed in a situation where I'm just down bad about a man. I'm never going to be down bad about a man. Because again, I know who they are at face value. But I also understand the society that we live in. I was also raised around a family of women who were married. The women in my family are married and have been married for a very long time. The only person that told me the truth about marriage was my grandmother before she passed away. All the other women in my family did not sit down and have real deal conversations with me about what marriage truly is and what it looks like. My mother has been married for 30-something years. And my mother has never sat down and had a real life. I ain't talking about and y'all might feel away with me saying this, but I don't want nobody pulling out no Bible to talk to me about marriage. I want to know what it really looks like. And the reason why I say that is because in weaponized religion to oppress women in marriage, and that's what he started to do. As I mentioned, he was a very religious man. So soon after us getting married, the mask started to fall off, and he stopped cleaning up. I went to his house, and his house was disgusting. It almost looked like Mr. House looked from The Color Purple when Celie had first got over there and she had cleaned up and get all that shit in order. And I was like, how filthy. Oh, you my wife. That's a part of your role. It's a part of your role to cook and clean and all of that. No, sir. So he started with that. He started using the religion as to weaponize a marriage. And I'm like, this man don't really know who he married. Again, because, see, I fool a lot of men, too. When men are in relationships with me, I am, again, very reserved. I'm very laid back. I'm very kind. And men don't know how to handle that. But I'm also very mean, and I don't play that shit. Now, if you get me to a point, well, I don't play that shit. And again, any man that I've dated will tell you, Lakita is mean, but I'm kind. So again, I'm very kind, but I don't play that shit. So he started with that house just like that. He also started putting things on my calendar. And when I say putting things on my calendar, because he likes to be on the scene. So he'll be like, oh, I got this event that we got to go to on such and such day at 8 o'clock. That's your event. That's not my event. Again, I'm reserved. I don't got to be on the scene. I only step out when I need to step out. I understand being a supportive wife and supporting your husband through his dreams and whatever he got going on. But he was like, OD, y'all. Every event, I don't want to be on the scene on no Tuesday night. And I done worked all day. I got a child. I don't want to be on the scene. I don't want to go to that. I want to come home and breathe and work out. I had my own life and I had my own hobbies. And that was a problem.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't marriage about becoming equally yoked?
Yeah.
Like, meaning that you two are, like, moving as a unit in a sense? Like, it's okay to have your own personal life inside of your marriage, but also to be kind enough to, like, she pretty much just said that she be capping. Like, she pretends to be a nice person, but deep down she's mean. That's what she just said.
She's
I
a
don't care
mean
how
girl.
watered down that was. I don't care how... Like, I don't care. I think maybe a better choice of words, but pretty much what you just said is that your mask came down as well. Like,
Yeah.
I'm confused. Like, if he wants you to go to an event with him, just go. Like, I feel like she, up until this point in the video, I can say I feel like she just married for the title.
Yeah.
Like, she just want to tell people after a year, like,
My
oh, I'm
husband.
married, I got the title. She just wants the title so she can be like husband, wife, you know?
Yeah.
But it don't make sense. She just came in with too many, like, okay, you want to wait after the first year to tell everybody, nah, I disagree, but whatever. But then you don't want my last name, and then you don't want me to, like, you don't want to live with me? And then, like, I just don't understand. I feel like this should have been talked about before the marriage. And I think she did say that they talked about the living situation. I don't know. She said, I just heard her say, like, they got married, and then after that, she just told him that she gonna keep her stuff. Like, she's not going into, like, his place, which is, like, okay. But I feel like it's just, why did y'all get married? Why did you marry this man? Up until this point, why did you marry him? Is it about the money? I'm not trying to say you're a gold digger. I'm just trying to ask you, like, what else is there? You said you wasn't physically attractive to him, and he's not your type. So if he's not your type, what was it? You said you was asked by other men. Then why did you tell him yes? This is playing with people. You said I don't do anything to like intentionally harm people. But wouldn't you guys say, Messy Family, that's some intentional, like some shit you would do to intentionally harm somebody? Like, you knew you wasn't gonna stay with him forever, but you married him, and you knew that would make him very happy, but you knew deep down you wouldn't be with him. You don't think that would hurt him? You don't think that's just accountability? I'm just real big on accountability with these stories. Like, take a little accountability, girl. You're a little bit too strong. I'm like, okay, we get it. Independent woman, we got it. Like, you ain't giving this man no chance. You already coming in very pessimistic, and it's like, damn, girl. I'm trying to be with you with this story, but it's like, damn, girl.
Problem for him. He wanted me to be a full-on wife up under him, but he wasn't taking care of me. And when I say he wasn't taking care of me, he wasn't providing a life where I could leave my career. Even though I wasn't. I'm never going to do that. But it wasn't presented in that manner. So why you putting all this stuff on my calendar when I gotta work and I gotta do my own thing? So he would get upset about that, putting things on my calendar. He also started to compare the way that I treat my son to his kids. And I've only seen the kids a couple times. It wasn't a lot because the kids did not live with him. They lived with their mom. And when he had his kids, would be at his house. And I would be at my house with my kid. But when he got his kids, he wanted me to basically stop everything that I was doing and that I had planned and to be there for his kids. So when he got to go run to an event, he want me to be in the house with his kids. And your kids are in town to spend time with you. I'm an educator. I love children. I'm never going to mistreat a child. Never going to do that. But I'm also my own person. And I don't have to be available to your children because you say so. Your kids are here to spend time with you. They're not here to be put off on somebody else while you running in the streets. And I'm going to tell y'all about that. He was actually ripping and running in the streets. Let me go back just a little bit because I forgot to mention the honeymoon. So we got married and we're supposed to have a 2-part honeymoon. So the first part of the honeymoon, we went on a trip. He went all out, top of the line, presidential suite, the flowers, the champagne, everything. Whatever I wanted, I got it. Jewelry, everything. Top of the line. We went out. We stayed there. Initially, I think it was like 4 days. Whatever I wanted, I got. Whatever. He did not spare any expense. And I will say that about him. He is very good at planning dates. He's very good at planning trips. He'll go all out.
How are y'all doing? How was y'all's day?
So, had an amazing time. We get to the last day and he's like, do you want to just extend it maybe another day or two so you can relax before you get back into real life? And I'm like, cool. So we do that. You're relaxing, room service, all of that. So it was cool. So I just wanted to say that part. And then where I left off, I was talking about the kids. So I'm trying to think, y'all, I'm years removed from it. So some parts of it are fuzzy because I literally checked out at parts of it. But I was at his house one evening and when he went out to get us some food, I had on my Apple Watch. He has an Apple Watch, but I had forgot my watch charger at my house. So I went to put my watch on the charger and his watch was on the charger. So when I went to put my watch on and get his watch off, he got a notification that came up on the screen.
Ooh.
And it was from a woman.
Ooh.
So I clicked on it. Voila. It opened up. And I'm reading the conversation. And she asking him where he's been, why she hasn't talked to him. Full-blown relationship. She don't know what she did, why he's doing this to her, why he went MIA, why he's missing. And she's literally begging him to talk to her. I'm scrolling and I'm reading the responses. So he responds when he's not around me or when I'm somewhere doing something and not paying attention. I ain't looked through no phones. I typically don't do that. But me pulling that watch off of them was a sign from God, I feel like. So I'm scrolling. He got another woman. Where you at? I haven't talked to you. And I'm scrolling and it's woman after woman. And it's literally probably 7 or 8 women in there. Here's where it get interesting. This man got some Christian Grey, 50 Shades of Grey type stuff going on with some of these women. Because they're telling him, oh, I miss it. I miss when we do this. We need another wild night of this and that. I won't go into detail. I won't tell all the man business. But just know it was on some 50 Shades of Grey type shit.
Oh, shit.
Another thing, this man is getting money from these women. There was one woman in there and she was like, don't be mad at me, but I can't cash app you any more money. I've reached my cash app limit for the day. I don't have any more money to send you. Just give me a minute. If you give me a minute, I can send you some more money. So not only do we got this 50 Shades of Grey type stuff going on, he got these women all over sending him money and funding his lifestyle. He's taking these women's hard-earned money and giving it to me. Because like I told y'all, No expense spared. My birthday comes, he got it all planned out. Literally, whatever I want, I got. But I find out these women are financing his life. So I'm like, he really don't have no money. Which caused me to dig a little bit more into his finances. So all that went on. So he gets back and I bring it up. So I was like, we'll call her Lisa. So I was like, I'm Lisa looking for you. So he gives me this look. And so he was like, Lisa is old news. Lisa is somebody that I used to talk to. I said used to as in yesterday. So he's like, what you talk about? Typical nigga shit. What they do when they call, they try to at first play like I don't know what you talking about. So you calm. And I'm like, I ain't up for chasing behind no man or none of that. If that's the lifestyle that you want to live and that's what you want to do, I'm out of here. Oh no, it's old. I told her it wasn't no more. She was before your time. Ain't nothing like that. And I've been trying to tell her that it's over with. So I'm like, she's before my time. And he was like, remember when I told you I was going to town for my birthday when we first started talking? She was there. She was with me when I was there. She was who I was with when I was out of town for my birthday. So if y'all remember that.
Wow.
I told y'all he went out of town for his birthday when we first started talking. And he would call and text. And then I told y'all about the hoodie. So he got me a hoodie. And he was like, he just then started to play the, I'm so sorry. So he just really started trying to talk about the lady. He funded me. Like, he was there for me when I first moved up here and I had to start over. And I'm like, what you mean you had to start over? What you talking about? And he was like, well, I ain't tell you you're going through a situation with the bar. Mind you, I told y'all he a lawyer and then he has a consulting business on the side. They just got a lot going on with that, with the bar and all that. And she was there for me when I first moved here. But when I met you, I just knew you. I was like, it sounds like you should have been trying to propose to this lady. Because this lady doing things that I ain't gonna never do for you. So I don't understand why you came to me. Come to find out, he was stalking my Instagram. So he had been looking at my Instagram for a long time. And back then, I was posting a lot of teaching content in the college classroom. We was doing a lot of day in the lives of a young college professor and just posting videos about that. That was mainly what my content was. So apparently I came up on his feed. He was intrigued. And so he started following me and keeping tabs on me. So he had been watching me for quite some time before he made his move to slide in my DMs. Before I get into part 7, let me say this. Y'all coming on this page talking about sis. You should have took it more serious and marriage is sacred and blah. Let me say this. Tell that shit to them niggas who out here that don't take their marriage seriously. Because me, even though I may not have wanted to at that time or just did something going against my intuition, I was still solid in it. So know and understand that. One thing about me, when I do something, when I make a decision to do something, I'm a grown woman about mine. So by no means is this a pity party or any of that. It's, again, me telling my story so other women know that they aren't alone. Men fake all the time. I don't care if you've known a man for 5, 10, 20 years. You don't know a man until you're married to him. You don't know a man until you live with him. So all y'all coming on this page trying to put this shit in my lap, I honored my vows. He didn't. And I can assure you, we are not divorced because of me. So you might want to check that before you come on this page. All right, part 7. So I have the stuff at his house. So I pack all my stuff. My car is full. So I pack all my stuff, and he's trying to stop me from leaving. No, don't leave. We can work it out. We can talk it out. It ain't nothing to talk about. You got a whole... This man don't have just one woman, y'all. This man got a phone full of women that he's sleeping with and that he's getting money from and that he's going to their house, he's going on dates, he's doing all of this. Remember now, we don't live together. So I'm not always over there or he not at my house. I have a career. I have hobbies. I'm busy. And he does too. So we're not up under each other 24/7. And we haven't gotten there. So whenever he out of my sight and claim to be working, he over here laid up with women.
Ooh.
So I get my stuff. We go at it about it. We fall out about it. So I get my stuff and I go back to my house. So he ain't never got to worry about me coming to his house again. Hey, let me say this. He had a very sinister look on his face. The man is a narcissist. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with one, and I know people use this word a lot, but he is a textbook narcissist. He had this look in his eyes and this look on his face. He was like, I got her, if that makes sense. I got her. I got you. So I saw that look and I was like, so after leaving his house, we go probably a couple of days without talking. And so he decides to break the silence and he's apologizing and he's basically saying a lot of that he had to get to his system. And a lot of those women were before us. And again, he knew when he met me, I was the one, but he was just 1 foot in and 1 foot out. But us having a little tiff about the situation really brought things into perspective for him, and he just really wanted to try to see if we can make things work. So his kids were supposed to be coming, and so he wanted to plan a trip with all the kids and me and him to go see some family of his. And let me just say this, so I'm listening, and again, even though I honestly didn't really want to get married again, I still honor the process. I still honor what it was, because even in that moment, I told him, just give me a minute to think about everything that you're saying. I didn't file the divorce immediately at that point. So he thought that there was still hope, and I led him to believe that, I guess, because I didn't immediately shut it down at that point. I was just basically like, just give me some time to think. I'm gonna be at my house. You can be at your house. But he wanted all of us to go on the trip. After thinking about all of us going on the trip, I was like,
okay, so listen, I take back it, I guess. So now we get to the gist. He was cheating. Now, I got a question. I'm gonna ask y'all. Don't get mad at me. I'm just asking this question. Do you feel like the neglect is the reason why he kept that foot like into the other realm of other women? Now I know we all gonna be like, why did he get married? What's to get married? I don't know her point why she wanted to get married. I don't know why he got married if he got all this stuff going on. Don't know what the whole rush on marriage was from the jump from these two. Sounds just like desperation. They don't want to admit it, but that's probably what it was. But what do y'all think, man? What do y'all think? So we know that it's cheating now, so that's probably why. But for all you guys who want to stick around and hear the rest, I do not blame you, because this woman is very like long-winded in a sense. So she's giving us like even more. So I want to know what happened after. Like what happened after? That's what we at now. So if you want to fall off right now, I do not. No hard feelings, y'all. But for the rest of you, come on. We're about to watch the rest of this. We're about to see what happened. Like what all transpired after this. Like this is a mess.
cool. So he tells me he's going to get his kids and then he's going to come back. And he plans the trip, pays for the tickets, and he's like, I'm excited. You're going to meet my family. And I'm like, all right, cool. At this time, I was in the process of starting a new job. So they had called me and officially given me a start date. So the start date was that Monday after the weekend that we were supposed to be going out of town together. When they called me to tell me about the job, he had already booked the tickets, had all the travel arrangements set up. Something just in me was like, nope, I ain't going. So I didn't say it to him like that. I was just like, well, I got stuff to do for the job, so I got to be in town. And that trip ain't going to work for me because I can't change my start date. These people told me this is the day that I have to start, and I have all of my stuff done before my start date, so I can't go. He was pissed. So his kids, they go on the trip. He posting stuff and subliminals the whole time because we followed each other on social media. So he posted subliminal messages and all this the whole time. And I'm just looking, we're not talking on this while he's on this trip because he is pissed off at me. I decided in that moment, this ain't gonna be it. But he calls me when he gets back from the trip. Now, y'all bear with me because this was years ago, and as I tell the story, things are starting to come to my memory. So I'm going to go back just a little bit. So remember I told y'all he was a lawyer, and there was some things going on with that. So he was being investigated by the Bar Association for several complaints of misconduct. And so at that time, he was not able to practice law. This is what I found out. I was in my career, and my career was thriving. So initially, I was working at a well-known school, and then I was also teaching my college courses a couple of evenings out of the week. So because of his status with the bar, he started asking questions about becoming a college professor. So what's the requirements? What's the process like? What does the pay look like? If one was interested in applying to work at a university, what would that look like? So he started to share an interest in teaching classes. And so he asked me if there were some positions at the college, one of the colleges that I was teaching at. And so I was like, I don't know, you gotta look into it. But I started to notice him being a little bit jealous of me having a thriving career. So fast forward, I told y'all that I got the new job, and because of the new job, I basically told him I can't go out of town with you because I have to finish the paperwork and do everything that they're requiring me to do to start work on Monday. So when I initially got the offer letter for the job, he was like, wow, I didn't know you was applying to them. Do you know how good of an organization this is that you work for? He was like, I don't think you understand how big this is. You are going to have connections to all types of people in the city. Big connections. These people you're going to be in rooms with major people. And this just looks so good for my image. And so I'm looking at him crazy. And again, I told y'all, he likes to be on the scene. If there's an event in the city where there are politicians or community leaders or powerful educators and people in the legal field, he wants to be on the scene. And so I let him know that I was going to be working from home. So he was like, wow, you get to work for this type of organization and you get to work from home. And so I remember them sending my offer letter, and me being excited about it. And he was like, why does it say your last name on the offer letter and you haven't changed it to my last name? And I was like, because my last name is what's on my degrees, and my last name is what got me to this point. So that's basically how I responded to that. And so he wasn't feeling that at all. So I just wanted to throw that part in there. He also, because of his status with the bar, he had a couple of friends that were a part of organizations and that had jobs, and so they have connections with attorneys. And so he was trying to interview to do some work for an attorney. And so apparently the attorney was having some sort of event or something. And I guess as a part of that process, the attorney asked him if he was married. And if you know anything about men in their careers and their social status, being married is top tier. They get a lot more respect. They get a lot more money. They get put into positions of more power when they have a wife. Now let's go back. Y'all been jumping down my throat about how I did him, and he wanted to marry me for his status. I looked good on paper. I looked good on his arm. That's why he was pushing for us to get married. So I just want to say that. So he gets back from the trip with his kids and he calls me. And so he's like, we really need to talk. I have the kids for a couple of more days. So if you could make some time in your schedule, I'd really like to meet up. We can go out to eat with the kids and we can have a conversation about what happened with the trip and basically the status of what's going on with us. I agree. So the day comes, my son and I meet him and his kids at the restaurant. Now keep in mind, this is one of the rare occasions where my son goes with us to stuff because I kept that very separate. Again, I was very strategic. But because his kids was there, I was like, my kid can go. So they can keep each other company. So this was my son's first time meeting his kids too. So it was like, they're keeping each other company. we can talk. So we at the restaurant, and he's just trying to push me to talk to his daughter. Not that I wasn't talking to her, but your kids are. They have to warm up to you. But he was basically, I felt like, trying to use the kids to pull my heartstrings to keep the marriage alive. And so you basically had a conversation, and he just let me know how upset he was about me not going on a trip, and how he really hoped that we could work it out, and he just feels like I haven't been basically being supportive of him. So trying to basically flip the script, talking about the situations again with the women. Oh, and let me clear that up. I said that there were 7 or 8 women in the phone. Now, I don't have evidence that he was actually doing that with 7 or 8 women. He was doing that with at least 2, and then he had other women that he was getting money from. I don't know how far they took that, but I cannot confirm that he was, in fact, taking it there with at least 7 or 8 women. He just had a mix. He had a couple of women where he was going there with. One thought that they were in a relationship, and then he had the ones, specifically the conversation was about money, and then it seems like he was letting these other women. And again, if you think about it, this was going on, the money situation with the women, because of his status with the bar. So because of that, he was unable to get certain jobs. Now, he also had a legal consulting business, but apparently it was some issues with that. The services that he was providing, he wasn't providing those services good enough based on his clients, and so he was running into issues with that. So apparently money was an issue. So he had to pay his bills, and then he also had to keep me and keep the lifestyle that he portrayed and what he introduced me to. Because remember, I told y'all he spared no expense. So in order to maintain that, he had to have those women giving him money. So we had the conversation over the food, and he was like, well, I'm going to take the kids back. How about you ride with me, and we can continue to talk, taking the kids back. So you take my son home. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll ride with them. So we're riding down, and we're talking. The kids are asleep in the car, so we're talking. So we get to the destination, and the baby mama get out of the car. Mind you, now this is the first time I met her. So he was like, can you get out the car and meet my baby mama? Because I wasn't going to get out the car. I say, hey, but I want this man to know. So whatever, I'll keep it cool. I'll keep it cordial. So I get out the car. He goes, I just wanted to introduce you to my wife. And the way that she looked at me, y'all. So he introduces me as his wife to the baby mama. And she looked like a deer in headlights. She was very nice, very respectful. I introduced myself. I told her, you're doing an amazing job with the kids. It was short and sweet. I got back in the car. They kept talking about whatever it was that they were talking about. But I could tell that she was surprised. So when he got back in the car, he let out deep breath. And I was like, what you doing all that for? And he was like, I don't know, I just didn't think it was going to go like that. And I was like, why would you think it would go any other way? And he was like, I don't know, that was my baby mama. And we got 2 kids together, and I don't think she thought that I would be getting married. So you're putting that out in my brain. They must got something going on. Again, I don't care. I'm leaving. But whatever. So he continued to talk. He continued to basically say, oh, what he said was, I gotta admit some of the stuff that you found in my phone. Some of what you found in my phone is partially true. The parts where you did see me getting money from women, that's just what I was doing when I first moved up here. So I was on dating sites. We ain't meet on the dating site. Nothing wrong with it, but I was on the dating sites, and that's just what I was doing to occupy my time when I first moved up here. So he was on those dating sites, scoping out successful women and seeing what he could get out of those women. And he was like, yes, some of those women, I didn't do nothing with them, but I just had them on to believe that we could have something if they give me money. And that's what they was doing. But I was giving it to you. And I was like, this man is a piece of work. So then he goes, and I wanted you to ride down here because I had a surprise for you. I got a spa date set up for you, and I'm gonna take you over here to the spa. Cool. We go to the spa, we have a nice time, we drive back where we at, and he's like, I really want my marriage to work, and I really want us to work this out. Maybe we could go to therapy or something. So I'm like, oh, whatever. So I think the next day, or it was, I can't remember, y'all. It was a couple days later, but he came to my house. I think my son was at school. He came to my house, and then he was just like, we were talking, and then he was just like, I gotta go run some errands. And it was kind of like abrupt, but he was like, I gotta go to some meetings, and I gotta go handle some things. So I was like, cool. So he leaves. I'm working. So he calls my phone, and he's like, I met with somebody who was over some school about some social event. Y'all, I can't remember it because I was blocking it out. He always got some type of social event to try to go to every single day. I don't give a fuck. So he was like, and I told him that we will be there on such and such day. Mm-hmm. And I paused, and I was like, you ain't asked me nothing about going to no meeting. And so no social meeting or whatever it is. And he was like, but you're my wife, and I need your support to be there. And I was like, oh, you need my face to be there. And so he was like, but you're also my wife. How I'm going to be at an event with a ring on my finger, and my wife is not there to support me? And so I was like, it really just, he rubbed me the wrong way, really. He was just getting beside himself. So I was like, first of all, don't be putting nothing on my calendar, because you just be running all around town to all these meetings, and you ain't making no money. And so he was like, I can't believe you would say something like that to me. And I was like, and furthermore, I have my own meetings to go to that I actually get paid for. So I just started talking real reckless out my mouth, and it just, I guess it pissed him off. And so he was like, well, we ain't gotta talk no more today, or something like that. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. And I hung up the phone. And so after 5 minutes, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I am so done with this shit. So I sent him a message, and I said, since you're a lawyer and we can both agree that you ain't what I want, and I'm not gonna be the kind of wife you want, since you're a lawyer, we could go ahead and file for that divorce, and it shouldn't cost anything, because you're a lawyer, you know how to file the paperwork, you're not going to contest it, it should be a clean-cut divorce. So he was like, cool, because I guess he had found, honestly, I think what it was, he had found a new supply. If y'all know a narcissist, y'all know they keep somebody in rotation. So I think what had happened was he had found somebody new, so he thought shit was sweet, and he could just beat his chest about it, and he really didn't take me serious, is what I think. But he filled it out, and he sent me a copy. So he was like, we gotta go notarize this. So I was like, cool. And he was like, well, what day can you be available? So I gave him my availability, and we met at the bank so we could get it notarized. So I'm walking in the bank, I'm looking good, I'm smelling good. He's already there when I walk in. I'm looking good, I'm smelling good. So as soon as I walk in the bank, the security was like, wow, you're gorgeous. And so I go to sign in. And as I'm coming for signing in, it's another guy, and he was like, oh my God, you're gorgeous. I would really like to get your number. I would really like to take you out. The whole time, he's just fuming, just sitting there fuming. But he's still like beating his chest. We gonna go through it. I'm ready. So we go back to get the notary to sign. We don't even speak. We don't say anything to each other. Sign. He signed, they give us a copy, and that's that. So later he sends me an email, and he has to send me an email because I blocked him. So in the email, he was basically like, something like, I can't believe we're gonna go through it with it, but whatever. So I'm gonna file it, and you should get your notification of receipt of filing. So he files it, I get the receipt of filing. So you have to wait, you have a 30-day waiting period before you have to go and appear. But because it's uncontested, just wait in the 30 days. We don't have any access or anything. It should be a smooth process. He fills out the divorce paperwork wrong on purpose. He also didn't serve me properly on the divorce papers. So after 30 days, I didn't receive nothing on what's going on. So I called the court, and they're like, they just told me basically there was a delay with processing and just give it some time. So I'm like, another month go by. I don't get served. I don't get anything. It's just sitting there. Now, mind you, I told him to file it because he's a lawyer. So he knows what to do. If we agree, there's no need to pay another lawyer for the divorce. If he could just do it, I could just sign it. I don't care if it says he's the petitioner and I'm the respondent. I don't care about none of that. Let's just sign this paper. So, part 10. Now, let me add a little bit of tidbit before I go back to the divorce process. So, he took me to his childhood house. His parents had passed on, and so they had left the house and the property to him. And so it was quite a bit of land. And so he was like, as my wife, you can tell me what you think I should do with the property. And he was like, it can be a vacation house for us. So we want to get out the city. We can come here and we can just relax. But my baby mama been asking me if she could move in the house with the kids because the house is paid off. So there's no mortgage on the house. But it's in the country. So I wasn't interested in moving to the country, but it was a nice idea to go to the house when you wanted to have a vacation. So he brings this house up again, as a matter of fact, when we're leaving from with the baby mama, and I forgot this part. He's like, my baby mama was asking me about moving in that house, and he was like, basically, as my wife, how do you feel about me?
Thank you
just
so
letting my baby mama
much.
stay in the house with the kids? And I was like,
Hope
whatever
you're
you feel
having a
like
good
you need to
day.
do. There was also an instance when I went home. Now, I just let him know I'm going home to visit some of my family. I did not want him to go home with me. This man practically begged me to go home with me. Now, remember, nobody knew I was married. Only 2 people, my sister and my cousin, knew that I was actually married. So it wasn't.
So hold on. You didn't wait the year either, though.
A lot of people didn't know. People thought I was engaged. So I'm like, damn. If he go home with me, he talk too much. So he gonna tell them that I'm married. So I'm gonna have to go ahead. They're gonna be looking at me, and I gotta explain that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and shot my favorite uncle because that's who I was going to see. So I shot my favorite uncle a text, and I was like, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you now that I'm married. And he was like, what? Man, stop playing. You're not married, because it's me. So I was like, I got married. And he was like, really? And he was like, I'm so happy for you. I didn't expect that, but I'm so happy for you. Let us know when we gonna meet. And I was like, I'm gonna come down there and he's gonna come. And he was like, well, I'm gonna tell your auntie. And I'm like, so I had to tell them, and only because I knew when we got down there that he just talked so much, and he was just gonna tell them that we was married, and I didn't want it to come from him, so I just went ahead and laid the foundation. But so there's that. When we went to visit his family, I met his sister, and his sister kept saying to him, don't mess this up. But he was just telling everybody, and I did not want nobody to know. I did not want anybody to know. So back to the divorce filings. So, I was also he had put me in the family group chat. I told him not to. I didn't want to be in the family group chat. So, because he filed the divorce wrong on purpose to try to, what he was trying to do was extend our marriage and basically hope that I was going to change my mind and hope that we could work it out. So I got a message from the family group chat, basically like inviting me to something, and them not even know that we had filed for a divorce. So I was pissed off. So I just started going off in the group chat, telling them how much of a fucking loser that he was. I was calling him names, just going off in the group chat. And I told him to take me out the fucking group chat.
You
I
could
was
leave.
just going off. And so he sent me an email, and he was like, really? And so we went back and forth a little bit in the email.
You could leave the
And I was
group
like,
chat.
you know what?
You don't
Fuck
need
this.
nobody to
Call a
take
lawyer,
you out of it.
call an attorney. And I was like, I want to file for a divorce. And so they ask you the typical questions. We don't have kids. We don't have assets. He filed it wrong, and that's why we're here. He's a lawyer, and he was supposed to file it, and he didn't do it right. This is why we're here. So I asked her about the annulment process because, y'all, this happened within 2.5 month time span. All of this. So I asked her, like, the process. And so she explained it to me. And she was like, you know, the marriage is short, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can get an annulment. Now you can. Like, it's steps that we're gonna have to take. You gotta prove some stuff, and it's gonna make the process a little bit more complicated, and it's gonna be a little bit more expensive. And she was like, now what you could do is, because y'all have already both agreed to file, it's non-contested. So because it's non-contested, it's nothing for me to file it. Now, again, you're still gonna have to wait those 30 days. You got that 30-day waiting period. But again, because y'all have already basically started the process and he agrees, as long as he doesn't contest it, you should be good to go. So she starts the process for me, and she calls me and tells me that I have to come in the office or whatever to sign the paperwork. So she had already sent the paperwork over to him for him to sign, and she just let me know, like, he was asking a bunch of questions. And so I signed the paperwork, waited the 30 days, and the divorce was finalized. Part 11, life after the divorce. So everything was good. He went his way, I went my way. Life continued to go on. And let me just say this. I have a dog, and my dog hated him. Say hey to Rocky. But my dog hated him. So life went on. So about 2 months ago, I get a phone call in the middle of the day from a random phone number. My son is in school, so I'm thinking maybe somebody calling from the school. It's the middle of the day, or it's a job or something that I've applied to. So I answer the phone. I hear his voice, and he's like, hi, can I speak to Lakita? And I'm like, who is this? And he was like, you don't know my voice? And I'm like, no, I don't. And I hung the phone up. But in my mind, I knew his voice, and I'm like, what does he want after all this time? Because after the papers were signed and it was finalized, we did not communicate. It was literally over. And so I was like, let me get my iPad and record this conversation, because I know he's going to call back. And this man is manipulative. He's narcissistic. I don't know what he could have said out of his mouth. So let me have this on just in case. So he calls back, and I answer again. And so he's telling me, this is so-and-so. So I'm like, and he was like, hey. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm fine. What you calling me for? And he was like, I ain't calling, no, nothing like that. I was just calling to let you know that I've been thinking about us, and I've been thinking about the marriage, and I just wish that it would have turned out better. I just wanted to let you know that you were a great wife, and I just didn't appreciate what we had at the time, and I wish this would have turned out better. So remember now, I told y'all, I think that he had got a new supply and he was beating his chest. So whatever situation he was in that had kept him quiet, kept him away, and kept him at bay, I guess it didn't work out the way that he thought it would. So he was just basically telling me how good of a woman I am, and it wasn't my fault, and it was his fault that it ended the way that it ended, and he just wished it would have been better. So then he starts asking about my son, and I'm not mad, I'm not upset, I'm not angry. I'm far removed from the situation, y'all. I was able to get out of it. So outside of my money, I wanted him to give me my money back. But whatever, I'll take that. I was able to get out. So I don't have anger. I will not converse with him. No. But I'm not mad angry. And so he's telling me his kids are good, and I'm like, where's this going? And I'm listening because I know it's headed somewhere, and I'm just waiting on it to get where it needs to be, where he's trying to get it, because he's long-winded. I'm like, where you going with this? So he goes, in spite of it all, I still view you in a high regard, and at the end of the day, you were this and you were that. And so he goes, I would really like if me and you could go out. We could meet and we could talk over dinner or something. So I go, I don't think my man would appreciate that. Ooh. He was like, oh, you're in a relationship? But you know what? I wouldn't expect nothing less, because you're an amazing woman. So tell him he's a lucky guy. And I said, yeah, I'm engaged. And he already knows that. And he was like, oh, he was taken aback and speechless, but he was still trying to still hold his chin up. So he was just like, oh, congratulations. I think that that's amazing. And whatever you need, if you ever need something, please don't hesitate to call me. I'm just a phone call away. You'll always have a friend in me. And I just all that. And y'all, I just hung up the phone and blocked the number. And so I haven't heard from him sense. But that is my story. And again, I told this story because I want women out there to know that just because you're in a marriage or you're in a situation, that does not mean you can't get out of it. If you get it too soon, like I did, if you waited a long time and you're in a situation and you're ready to get out of it, you can get out of it. So yes, y'all, I didn't know him in the way that I should have known him, but being who he is, I don't think I would have ever known who he is.
Right, messy family. That was a story to unfold. What do you guys think? I feel like it would have hit different if this was like they was married for a while, then he cheated. But the fact that they were married within like a few months and divorced within a few months, it's almost like y'all was really in a talking stage that y'all turned into a marriage. Like, I want marriage to work for people. I will never look at someone and tell them like the bad things that come with marriage because I was so young when I got into it, so I can't really talk about it too much. I feel like it's still more stuff you can learn. I like listening to people who've been married for a long time because I'm talking like 10 plus years or so, because those people tend to like be able to walk you through tougher times. And that's what I feel like she should have did. She should have listened to that older woman who was telling her, like, you know, baby grandma was probably, no, I ain't gonna talk about your grandma like that, but you know, maybe she was a little spiteful towards her husband. I don't know what she told you that really turned you off towards marriage, but I wish you would have listened, like, talk to a few more people and not just one, because one person might have had a bad experience and they'll tell you all of these negative things, but reality is that's not the case for everyone. You know what I mean? You can learn to adapt in these marriages, but like I said, just, you know, you gotta be open to it, and it seems like you never was really open to it. It was always a one-way street. So I mean, I'm not justifying what he did. If this story is true in any way and fashion, then yeah, he deserved to, I would, you know, yeah. I mean, if he's cheating on you, if he's like having sexual relationship with other women, then yeah, you out. It makes sense. At first, it was just not making sense. So shout out to her. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to get on this internet and tell your story to people. So I shout out to you. You know, I hope you guys like enjoyed the story throughout. It kept me like on my edge of my feet. I was just like, just trying to like depict why. That's why my face was looking the way it was. But Messy fam, I appreciate you. Watch the video all the way to the end. You know, we family, right? I appreciate you. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this. I keep trying my best to edit these videos and get more out to y'all though. But until the next video, peace.
Okay, this is story time about how I got shot or whatever. So I was talking to this boy. We was talking for like a couple months or whatever. So he used to always be in my car, like ride around in my car. We used to always be together, riding around and stuff like that. When they put me in the ambulance, so they put me on the bed, put me in the ambulance, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just asking them the whole time, like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna be okay? Please just tell me, am I gonna die? I was like, am I gonna be okay? So like, oh no, school! School tower!
Also new now at 5, Birmingham police asking for your help to find whoever shot and killed this young woman, Mia Nixon, back in January. Investigators say her family is hurting and pushing for justice in her case.
How does a promising young woman with everything to live for end up shot to death in her own driveway? Who was Mia Nixon, and what happened in those final moments of her life? Could the answers be closer than anyone realizes, or is the truth buried in silence? Was she a victim of her own action, or should we say karma caught up with her? Make sure to watch till the end to find out, because this one will interest you a lot. In the early hours of January 10th, 2024, a young and beautiful girl who was 21-year-old, her name was Mia Nixon, was discovered unresponsive
for this
outside
to
her home
fall
in
like my
Greencrest
first
Drive in
one,
Birmingham, Alabama.
and it fell
The
and
place
never
she should
came
have
back
felt
on.
safest became the site of an unimaginable tragedy. Mia's dreams of building a future in the beauty industry were cut short in an act of violence. Was Mia targeted, or was this a random act of violence? Was someone inside the house that night holding on to a crucial piece of information? Today, we uncover the events that shattered a quiet neighborhood and ask, what will it take to finally get justice for Mia Nixon? There are lots of twists and turns in this murder case, which I will reveal at some point in this video. This true crime story might want to make you blame the victim, but we plead that you drop your thoughts and comments respectfully because of the grieving family. Welcome to Mind Twist True Crime Stories, where all our stories are based on true crimes. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our latest stories. It was a quiet night in Birmingham's Crestwood neighborhood. The kind of night where the faint rustle of leaves and distant hum of passing cars are the loudest sounds you'd expect to hear. But at 1:45 a.m. on January 10th, 2024, that calm was shattered. Police responded to a 911 call reporting gunfire outside a home on Greencrest Turn. When they arrived, they found 21-year-old Mia Nixon lying unresponsive in her driveway, just steps from her front door. She had been shot. Mia was rushed to the hospital, but her injuries were too severe. She was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The rising star of Birmingham's beauty scene was gone. What do police know so far? Investigators determined Mia was outside her home when the fatal shot was fired. But the shooter? They fled the scene, leaving behind no weapon, no fingerprints, no immediate clues to their
Yeah, I'll be
identity.
right back.
Inside the house, family members were unharmed. But why didn't they hear anything? Why wasn't Mia inside with them? These questions remain unanswered. Detectives canvassed the area, speaking to neighbors who recalled hearing a single gunshot, but saw no one fleeing. Surveillance cameras on nearby homes captured nothing. It's as if the killer vanished into thin air. What's even more puzzling, Mia wasn't known to have enemies. Her social media painted a picture of a young woman full of ambition, loved by many. So why would someone target her? But there was a shocking discovery and theory I will share with you shortly. Here's where it gets even stranger. Witnesses inside the house claimed they didn't hear the gunshot at all. How is that possible? Was it a silenced weapon, or is someone withholding the truth? This case is riddled with questions, and almost no answers. Who pulled the trigger? Why was Mia outside that late, and what secrets, if any, were hidden behind her demise? Mia Nixon was just 21 years old, but she carried herself with the determination and charisma of someone destined for greatness. Born and raised in Birmingham, she grew up in a tight-knit family that supported her dreams at every step. Described as ambitious and full of life, Mia was the kind of person who left a lasting impression on everyone she met. Her talent in the beauty industry was undeniable. Specializing in hair and nails, Mia had built a reputation for her precision and creativity. Clients praised her ability to transform their looks and make them feel confident. Her work was more than a job, it was a reflection of her passion and drive. Mia's goal was to one day open her own salon, a space where she could combine her skills with her entrepreneurial spirit. For those who knew her personally, Mia was much more than her work. Friends often spoke of her infectious laugh and the way she always made others feel seen and valued. One friend recalled, Mia had a way of lighting up a room. She was always there when you needed her, no matter what. Her loved ones weren't just proud of her talent. They admired her resilience and the way she balanced ambition with kindness. Mia wasn't just a rising star in her field. She was a role model for young women in her community. Her social media presence showcased not only her professional skills, but also her dedication to inspiring others to chase their dreams. But behind the success and the smile was someone with dreams that now will never come to fruition. The question that lingers is this: how does a life filled with so much promise come to such a sudden and violent end? This is the personality she is known for, to her friends, family, and the public. But lurking beneath is another personality altogether that is disturbing, and it might have led to what really happened that night. These theories weren't made to the public by the authorities for reasons best known to them, but they are familiar with all her dealings. Stick with me. Here's a backstory. On December 2nd, 2023, Mia made a post on her Facebook page celebrating the anniversary of survival. On December 2nd, 2022, she was attacked while sitting in her car. They shot at the car multiple times, and she was hit in the right ear, which went through her eyes. She lived through it, but the streets were talking. People speculated that her lifestyle may have caught up with her. Just 3 months before she was shot dead, she was arrested for drug trafficking, and she was out on a bond of $40,000, which she posted. Now I'm forced to ask, who was she working for? Now, you would ask why she went through these. What was she really into, apart from being a beautician that everyone knew her to be? To the public, she was just a regular girl trying to make it out. No worries, you will find out why soon. Mia Nixon's death wasn't random. That was one of the first conclusions detectives reached. The evidence, or lack thereof, suggested this was no accident. Whoever pulled the trigger knew exactly what they were doing and vanished without a trace. At the scene, there were no signs of a struggle. No weapon was left behind, no clear fingerprints, no immediate clues pointing to a suspect. Detectives worked around the clock, combing through the area for anything that could explain how a young woman's life was taken so brutally. The police turned to those closest to Mia, conducting interviews with anyone who might have seen or heard something. Friends, neighbors, and even passersby were questioned, but the answers were elusive, and frustration mounted as the case began to grow colder with every passing day. Detectives also issued an appeal to the public, asking for tips that could lead them to the killer. They highlighted the importance of community involvement, urging anyone with information, no matter how insignificant it seemed, to come forward. But cases like this are never simple. A lack of witnesses at the scene, combined with the absence of physical evidence, created significant hurdles for investigators. As days turned into weeks, no arrests were made, and the trail seemed to grow colder. Why would someone target Mia Nixon? Was this a calculated act, or was there something personal at play? These are the questions that continue to haunt not only investigators, but also everyone who knew and loved her. I believe that no suspects have been apprehended yet because of the questionable character she portrayed while she was alive. There have been lots of disturbing stories about her and her past.
Also new now at 5, Birmingham police asking for your help to find whoever shot and killed this young woman, Mia Nixon, back in January. Investigators say her family is hurting and pushing for justice in her case.
Our Tristan Rupert is live at 5 and on your side, talking with investigators about this case. Tristan, what can you tell us?
Police believe Mia Nixon was targeted, actually, and they say community help could be critical in them solving this case. I spoke with Birmingham police officer Truman Fitzgerald earlier today. He says detectives have looked into every single lead they could really concerning this case, and that a tip from the community could be critical in really cracking it wide open. Now, Officer Fitzgerald says Nixon was beloved, talented, and really excelling in the hair and nail field. He says Birmingham police won't stop searching for the person responsible for her death, and stresses no matter the information, you need to come forward if you know something.
Nothing's too small. We know the streets are talking. We know Mia was extremely popular, but our detectives need that information. So anything you have, please call that into Crime Stoppers.
Remember, Crime Stoppers is a fully anonymous process. No matter what your information is, they never know your identity. And if you do provide information that leads to an arrest in this case, you could be eligible for a $5,000 reward.
Here is another twist to this story. In Alabama's streets, there's been a lot of chatter about Maya being what's known as a setup queen. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the term, a setup queen is typically a woman working alongside a crew, scouting potential targets for robbery or worse. These women often use charm and allure to lure unsuspecting victims into vulnerable situations. Let me break it down for you. The term setup refers to a dangerous scheme where someone is deliberately lured into a vulnerable position, often leading to robbery, assault, or even murder. This often involves a person, frequently a woman, who acts as the bait, sometimes referred to as a setup queen. These individuals are skilled at identifying potential targets, often focusing on those who display signs of wealth, such as expensive jewelry, cars, or clothing. They frequent places where such individuals are likely to gather, such as nightclubs, sporting events, and other social gatherings. Here's how a typical setup scenario unfolds. A target is approached by someone who appears interested in them, often engaging in flirtatious behavior. This creates a false sense of connection and trust. The target may buy drinks or spend money on the individual, further solidifying the illusion. The intention is to convince the target that a romantic or sexual encounter is possible. A crucial tactic used in these setups is constant communication, often through cell phones. This allows the individual to relay information about the target's location, appearance, and possessions to accomplices who are waiting to carry out the robbery or attack. This can be done through direct communication, sharing location data, or discreetly taking photos. The target, often under the influence of alcohol, may be unaware that they are being monitored. They may drive the individual to their home, a hotel, or another private location, unknowingly leading their attackers directly to them. The setup queen might act drunk, giving the target an idea that he can easily get down with her in that state. She might make a video of it on social media to give the impression that she isn't aware of what is going on because she's tipsy. Once at the destination, the individual may create a pretext for not engaging in any physical intimacy, either feigning disinterest or creating a false emergency. This allows them to leave without raising suspicion immediately. However, the target has already been compromised, their location is known, and their vulnerability has been established. The consequences can range from robbery to violent assault. In some cases, the attackers may arrive while the setup queen is still present, staging a robbery that appears to target both the individual and the setup queen. In the most extreme cases, the target may be seriously injured or even killed. After her demise, there were lots of negative comments on her Facebook page accusing her of being a setup queen, saying she did set up someone recently and that person was the one who reacted in a violent way that night she was shot. On January 10th, the night she was shot, a few minutes earlier, she was on Facebook Live with a dude arguing and exchanging words, using gang-affiliated words like pull up, yada. He was accusing her of setting one of his guys up, which might have led to robbery or even worse.
Alright.
It was about 30 minutes after the Facebook Live argument that she stepped out that late night around WAM, probably to check if they actually pulled up on her, and unfortunately someone was ready waiting for her, and that's when she got shot. The dude she was on Facebook Live with, whose street name was Young Star to Dawn, went back on Facebook Live after hearing what happened to clear his name, saying he didn't know what happened and he didn't have any hand in it. He even accused someone else of the crime. Here is what he said.
I ain't gonna keep playing with it. I'll be in jail, stupid. Nobody never said they was in no, ain't no none of that shit. I was just on live. Now, if I did it, them phones gon' ping. I got 3 phones telling my direct location, where I was, what. Y'all know how the police play. I know about it. They don't want these phones on all that. Stop playing. There ain't no records in it. Oh, dead, what? Now, the girl still outside 25 minutes later. We still sitting outside. Trying to messages, see what they girl saying. Ask her what they do. Man, somebody called that girl outside. She got all that, put my name in it. Doing all that shit, talking about a bando and about a project. Well, you know how far I was? You know why I stayed there last night? Every time I go to sleep, y'all, I'm trying to get you in. Just chill, man. Stop bringing me up on the line. If I did something, this would have me in the head cook. Came and got me for that mud shot y'all seen. For the receiver story, they came straight to my house. They can't see that all that. No, if I did it, just like they know what anybody else, the phones gonna ping all that. You think I'd be on live and if I don't feel y'all be signing some shit. Oh God. Police come get you for anything else. What they came got? Stop playing with me, man. I'm that bitch, boy. Long time, youngster. Keep saying my name. If I did, the police would have came and got me. Don't they come get you for anything else? Can't they tell where you was any other time? Y'all know somebody did. I would have deactivated all that. Somebody trying to put it on somebody else. I ain't trying to put it on you. I'm trying to put it on me. I don't even got that type of time on my hand, girl. Stay with me like this girl. That's on line talk. Oh God. It's on line talking. If you seen it live, you know that that's serious. Somebody you got some messages. They called me after the blue. But it, bro, before they even hit the internet, Lil J called me on my mama. Lil J called me. Talking about the girl shot it. But it did. We like, you see we in the house, you feel? If I go to bed, please Keep playing with it. They ain't nothing on what you did. Somebody, hey, you never said a reason that love. They ain't for now all of a sudden. Stand fast. Stay fast. Police come get you for robberies and everything else. Don't y'all think they would've came and got me? Don't y'all think they would've got these phones and seen my
Hey y'all, what's up?
Stop playing me. Oh God, on that lame store, you see the girl had all typing on, and I ain't even finna talk about her on Newcomb, man. I ain't finna say nothing else about her, but it's nothing going on with that little situation. Stop playing me like that. Ain't no way this girl still sitting in the car. 45 minutes out the line, 30 minutes out the line. So you think this girl just sitting outside? You think she just sitting outside in the car? You said she finna be outside her car waiting on us to pull. That's what I'm saying. Girl got shot outside the car. Even when that bitch shots tonight, that's look close to personal. Somebody made that girl come back outside, man. Stop playing me like y'all dumb. Oh no. That girl had a champion off. Stop playing on me. Do nothing to that girl. I don't even know what this girl's saying. That's stupid. I don't know that. I'm just making up. Everything he said, he just making up. I don't know. Nobody said, hey, Trey. Nobody said a bed door by K-City. What? He said, we was in the bed door by K-City when we was on our board. But you know who we was. Man, you know what we was. Man, stop playing on me, man. Bring the towels out. That's what I'm saying. Tie with the phone. Tie with the phone, man. Tie with the phone. Tie with the phones, man. Bro, I never said once I was in that level what I'm talking about. When I said I was in that level. Who else heard me say I was in the 8? Who else heard me say I was in the 8? No fake page coming. Oh, man. Somebody that was on the line who heard me say I was in. Why I never once said I was in.
After his live video, another guy named Vito made a video replying to him and calling him out for trying to pin the case on another person. Makes me wonder if Mia was one of his setup queens.
I was arguing with the girl. You trying to do it on somebody else. You was mad about those sus weekend, man. I ain't said a thing. It's triple thanks. Which one of your homeboys she sit on? Because we already know that you on them fake pages talking about with somebody sit on, but y'all ain't sitting on the houses. Then, oh, now I'm in the
Y'all.
Hey, P, do you know Youngster Dunn said y'all did this, boy? Do you know Youngster Dunn is going around Birmingham telling people y'all can't wait for Uncle Jessica for crack boy to do it like that? I told you, boy, it's scary. Niggas gonna be crying. Niggas gonna throwing it on everybody. It was just the same group, and every time when it's random when they strike, when they do strike, y'all don't see it. It's always somebody else. Ain't nobody did nothing like that doing any no girls, man. He can't want people to talk to all the time. He could have been done if he wanted to do it. He sit on the phone with all because that's why he on the phone.
Back and forth sparked even more speculation, with both men denying responsibility while pointing fingers at each other. So word on the street is that one of those she did set up were the suspects that killed her on her driveway that night. Should we call that karma? Are all these stories and theories true? On her social media, there are pictures of her holding a gun and also the ones she was flashing some cash. She was mostly in a red outfit. Was her death the result of a setup gone wrong, or was it retaliation for past actions? One thing is certain, Maya's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of living on the edge. Please drop your thoughts, theories, and comments respectfully. Let us kindly respect her grieving family as we join in this conversation. And remember, be careful out there. Things aren't always as they seem. A $5,000 reward, that's the price authorities placed on information leading to the arrest of Mia Nixon's killer. But for those who cared about her, no amount of money could measure up to the need for answers. Officer Truman Fitzgerald made a heartfelt plea, standing before cameras, urging anyone with knowledge to step forward. This is someone's daughter, someone's sister, he said. His words carried the weight of desperation, a call for justice that resonated far beyond Birmingham. Yet, as the reward poster circulated and news coverage intensified, 11 months of this incident,
the
the search for
perpetrators
Mia's
don't get a
killer
long jail
remained
sentence.
agonizingly
They
stagnant.
get out.
No arrest has been made. Sadly, Mia Nixon's absence is a wound that her family
They
carries
get out,
every single
and people
day.
aren't
Her
safe.
mother, Erica Nixon, has described the loss as constant ache, a void that no words can fill. In her own words, I just want justice for my baby. She didn't deserve this. Her family has become relentless in their quest for answers, holding on to the hope that someone, somewhere, holds the key to solving Mia's murder. They've turned their grief into action, attending meetings, speaking publicly, and pleading for anyone with information to come forward. Despite the grief and heartbreak, one question continues to echo. When will Mia's killer be brought to justice? And just how close are investigators to finding the truth? If you know anything, no matter how small it may seem, you could be the lead that cracks this case wide open. Contact Crime Stoppers at 205-254-7777. Tips can remain completely anonymous. Though according to rumors, she might not have lived right, but that doesn't mean she deserves to be killed. No one has the right to take someone else's life. There are other better alternatives and routes to solve disputes. Help us keep Mia's story alive by sharing this video. Spread her name, her story, and the call for justice far and wide. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Together, we can be the voice Mia no longer has. Our thoughts and prayers are with her family in this grieving time. We stand with them. We hope they find peace and justice that they desire. See you in our next story.
If you're out there gangbanging, that's the life you chose. That's what comes with the territory. That's what comes with the territory you choose. Sadly. Okay. Got the handles on, y'all. The handle is on. No way. Ooh, shoot. I put the handle on the wrong part. I put the handle on the bottom. That is too funny. I'm not fixing this. Hell no. I am not fixing this, y'all. No, I'm trying to figure out. I really can't. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to fix it. Unfortunately, I am the type of person that, because I know it's not right, I have to fix it. Shit. Okay, let's get another story going to keep me company because this is crazy. Damn.
And maybe wanted to become a rapper himself. However, that dream Any other dream was cut real short after he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. On the day of the incident, Jeremiah went live on Facebook, rapping the song 30 by Brooklyn rapper Blizzy Blanks while he sat inside his car. After about 35 seconds of rapping, he stuck his head out the window, and as he did, 5 shots rang out, leading to him dropping his phone and the screen going blank.
Wow.
That would happen. Viewers expressed their fears before it was cut off. And the crazy thing here is Dickie was merely a couple blocks away from his home. On top of that, residents within the area were oblivious to the gunshots that had been fired, probably due to how fast the shooter or shooters fled the scene. One neighbor with a store nearby told the cops that he actually thought the sound was a firecracker or some random people playing around, not knowing Jeremiah, who just lived down the road from his store, was the one getting shot. And was he really the target? Well, we don't know. Nobody does. And judging by the fact that this incident happened over 4 years ago, might as well be closed at this point. This video has been taken down from Facebook. Kiana Herndon, December 28th, 2016, 26-year-old mother of 2 from Camden, Arkansas. Kiana Herndon started her Facebook Live broadcast by singing to her viewers. She could be talking about how she wanted to return to school, but suddenly her demeanor changed. Her breathing began to be labored, and she rubbed her eyes as she began to shake.
Wiping her face. Just kept wiping her face. Just kept shaking her head. And I was like, we called a key. I said, what's wrong with key?
A family member at home at the time was wondering what was happening, but really didn't take it seriously until she fell back and stopped moving. Her son Riley then picked up the phone, which had dropped from Kiana's arms, and started playing with it. At this time, reports say Kiana was still grasping for breath, and maybe, just maybe, if someone had come to check out what was really going on with her, she would have survived. After fighting for her life with her son sitting on her lap, Kiana fell to the ground, while her audience, growing by the second, was stunned at what was happening. No one knew if she was dead or alive, but all doubts were cleared after someone called 911, and first responders arrived, transporting her to the hospital. Unfortunately, she was confirmed dead hours later. Due to the circumstances surrounding her death, her story went viral on Facebook, with some speculating she probably had some underlying heart problems. However, this was absolutely incorrect. The truth was she had a serious thyroid problem, and in the weeks before her death, she was also diagnosed with cancer. That brought her a lot of pain, leading her to use Facebook to escape from reality. She had suffered from similar attacks before the death. According to her uncle, Kiana once described the pain as if her heart was about to jump out of her chest. That description's pretty painful. And for some reason, this same uncle also blamed her Facebook friends for her death. He claimed they shouldn't have just sat there watching her suffer in front of her crying baby. He thinks someone should have called for help sooner. And we're not here to pick sides. But do you genuinely believe that someone on Facebook should have called sooner? Or how about her own family, who was in the same house
Her
while all
family.
this was going on? Philando Castle.
Like, if you on Facebook and you seeing like something happen in real time on the camera, you don't know this person. Or how are you gonna call the police? Are you gonna say, hi, I'm on a Facebook Live and this lady, I don't really know her or whatever, or where she lives. How are you gonna give directions for someone to aid? I don't know. How does that work? For someone to help. So how can you blame Facebook people who don't really know her? People who was in the house with her. Yep. They the sets you blame. Y'all, I can't believe I sewed this on the wrong side. How did I not notice? Like, it's not the right one. Juju. And then I have to go shower soon and get ready for bed. Cut it off.
He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
Told not to read script. I told to get his hand up.
You told him to get his ID, sir, his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
That was the moment Diamond Reynolds got out her phone and went on Facebook Live, showing her bloody boyfriend, Philando Castile, a school cafeteria supervisor, after having been shot multiple times by a policeman. July 6th, 2016, Castile and Reynolds were traveling on a busy street near the Minnesota State Fairgrounds when they were flashed by a cop car to pull over. Once they did, the officer, Yanez, walks up to their vehicle, meeting Miss Reynolds seated in the front passenger seat and her 4-year-old young daughter in the back. Now, although it wasn't heard on the video, the officer silently radioed to a colleague that he thought Mr. Castile matched the description of a robbery suspect from a few days earlier. Now, Mr. Castile is waiting patiently while Yanez is waiting for his backup. But once the second cop arrives, that's when the real mayhem begins. Yanez walked up to Castile's window and told him that his brake light was broken. He then asked proof of insurance and a driver's license, to which Mr. Castile responded politely, handing his insurance through the window. Mr. Castile, who had a permit to carry a gun, informed the officer that he had one with him, to which Officer Yanez explicitly informed him not to pull it out. As he tried reassuring the officer that he wasn't pulling out the gun, Yanez fired 7 shots at Castile, leaving him a bloody mess. In the minutes after the shooting, Yanez kept his gun pointed towards the car as he called for backup and an ambulance, while Diamond started live streaming to an audience on Facebook, explaining what had just happened. Yanez, already emotional about what just happened, kept explaining that he informed Mr. Castile not to reach for the gun. He told Miss Reynolds to keep her hands where he could see him as she continued the broadcast.
He had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. We're waiting for him back. I will, sir. No worries. He just shot his arm off. He got pulled over on Larpener.
Told not to read script. I told to get his hand up.
You told him to get his ID, sir, his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that. Yes, I will.
As the video kept rolling, she was subsequently handcuffed and placed into the back of the squad car along with her daughter. In the aftermath, the case sparked widespread outrage, with people tagging it as yet another instance of police brutality.
Wow.
And then it got worse when Officer Yanez was acquitted of the murder. It's probably hard to believe, but yeah, he wasn't found guilty, and there's a reason for it. You see, his dash cam video didn't show clips that might have been essential for the jurors to consider. Clips like the full view of the front seat of Mr. Castile's car, which would have shown his hands and what he was reaching for just before the shooting. Yanez claimed that Castile was reaching for his gun, and his lawyers made that a central point in his defense. And while he was charged with 3 felonies, including second-degree manslaughter, Yanez made it clear to the jury that he feared for his life. Hence, he fired his gun. In contrast to that, Miss Reynolds said Castile was simply reaching for his license. And since she started that stream after the fact, no footage could have resulted. Terrell Smith.
Malaysian Devin Terrell Smith was on his Facebook Live talking to the camera. He was in a heated exchange with someone who was making comments as he was going live. Minutes later, someone drove right up to his house in Ypsilanti. More than 30 shots were fired.
June 28, 2022. Terrell Smith was shot dead during an argument on Facebook Live.
Well, we've recovered, y'all.
Let's
Let's get it on the right side now.
36-year-old Smith, living out of Michigan's Ypsilanti Township, was known as a friend for the food he made and often gave away. He was known for his love and support of the people of the town and his lively, brutally honest Facebook Live appearances. It's safe to say he was a Facebook celebrity, with hundreds of people tuning into his broadcasts to connect with his vibrant personality and candid insights. However, on the day of the incident, one person in particular couldn't tolerate Terrell's edgy jokes. Terrell continuously made fun of this person, telling him via broadcast that moving out of Ypsilanti wouldn't make him better. The guy took offense to it, leaving to be fighting around with 60 shots and making threats at Terrell. Terrell played him off, claiming he didn't care if he had 100 shots off. While a car with 3 men would pull up to Terrell's home and 30 shots were fired, causing him serious injury. Here's the thing, despite the ridiculous amount of shots he was riddled with, Terrell didn't die immediately. He kept fighting for his life until neighbors called paramedics and he was taken to the hospital. However, after some hours in the ER, he succumbed to the gruesome injuries sustained. Deputies collected 4 9mm shells, 6 5.7 caliber shells,
Damn.
and 19 7.62 caliber rifle cartridges scattered around the floor of Smith's home. Investigators found the doorbell cam that recorded the shooting, later identifying 3 vehicles owned by the shooters. After reviewing video and checking traffic cameras around the area, a lot of arrests were made, but 3 main people pled guilty to the charges: Sharif Bonner, Tyree Pitts, and Corey and Joseph Brown. After pleading guilty, all 3 accepted a plea deal.
Okay, so we're back in action.
His foster care at the time took to Facebook Live for 3 hours before.
For much of her short life, Naika Bennett bounced between 2 parents: a birth mother who would beat her without pity, leave her in bed with her boyfriends who watched her movies, and eventually abandon her and the state of Florida, which repeatedly returned Naika to a mother who showed little interest in changing her ways. All she ever wanted was to be with her mom, Gina Alexis. Time and time again, she saw love from her, who reportedly responded with fists and a belt. And when she realized she was never going to get that love, she put an end to her quest in the shower stall at her last foster home, where she hanged herself with a scarf, desiring her final moments to be as public as possible. Naika streamed her last act on Facebook Live, with hundreds watching. How exactly did she get to this point? When Naika had just turned 4 years old, the Department of Children and Families, DCF, was called to her mother's home. Naika had been left with a male babysitter, who in turn left her with no food and water. The DCF wouldn't act on this, and just a year later, Naika was left again unattended, leading to her getting admitted into the hospital with an undisclosed chronic health condition. At this point, the DCF called in Mother Alexis after Naika informed them that she had called her a liar and a faker, even making threats against her life. They offered daycare for Naika, but Alexis refused any services. In January 2009, Alexis beat Naika with a belt after finding out her daughter had become sexually active with another child. She beat Naika so bad that the girl had more than 30 marks on her arms, legs, and back. The DCF was then forced to remove her from her mother's care, and the girl would begin the first of 3 episodes in foster care, where workers kept wondering where the heck Naika had learned about sex. In therapy, she disclosed that she slept in the same room as her mother's boyfriends, and that she had watched what she'd called sex movies. And even though Naika had told authorities her mother continued to beat her during unsupervised visits in foster care, she was still returned to Alexis 17 months later. Now, a month after Naika had returned to her mom in July 2010, the DCF received another report saying that she had been sexually abused while in foster care. The other child vehemently denied it, insisting that Naika was the aggressive one, and that he repeatedly told her to get out of his room. The DCF would turn this case cold, but Naika had come back under their radar when she reported that her mother was maltreating her. She was then taken to another foster care, which became some sort of a routine between the DCF, Alexis, and Naika for years. The tipping point was in April 2016, when Naika had changed homes 14 times in a span of about 9 months, most of which came out of behavioral disruptions. Now, the constant movements made it extremely difficult for mental health professionals to offer any kind of meaningful care for her. And in November of said year, these same professionals recommended that Naika live in what's called a specialized therapeutic foster home to receive the kind of intensive care she needed, but there was no bed space available, meaning Naika ping-ponged yet again from one foster care to the other until she couldn't take it anymore. January 22nd, 2017, Naika spent nearly 3 hours broadcasting on Facebook Live in the bathroom of her foster parents' home as she contemplated whether or not to end life. Many watching the stream pleaded with her not to kill herself, while some others triggered her, calling the situation fake. On top of this, reports say her mother was also watching the stream for 2 hours, and even left a message that must have crippled Naika's mental health at that dying moment even more. The report claims that Gina Alexis wrote, #ADHD games played. You sad little DCF custody chip. That's why you wear your F for this dumb shit anymore. You keep crying wolf, you dead, you get married. Life goes on after a jit that doesn't listen to their parents, trying to be grown, seeking boys and girls' attention instead of books. I mean, what mother would write something like this? We certainly don't know. Whatever her intention was, Naika took her own life, hanging herself in the bathroom with a scarf. Antonio Perkins. Rule number 1. If you have enemies, never reveal your location. Broadcasting on Facebook Live can make a hitman's job a lot easier, and ignoring this simple rule can have deadly consequences. Around 8:45 p.m. May 29th, 2019, 28-year-old Perkins, a.k.a. Cicero Yayo, started a live stream at around the 1600 block of South Drake Ave in Chicago. The video shows him recording himself and talking before somebody out of nowhere opens fire on him. Perkins tried running away, but at least 6 shots were heard, and his phone appeared to tumble through the bloody grass before going black. Voices were heard screaming for emergency services to be called. In the aftermath, he was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 9:07 p.m. Paramedics discovered that he was shot in the neck and head about 6 minutes into the live stream, but what they couldn't decipher was why Perkins was the target of this shooting. According to the street, Perkins had numerous arrests and convictions and was documented as a gang member in Chicago. However, he was looking to put that life behind him by getting a proper job and taking care of his 3 kids. So maybe his murder was linked to his bad days. Maybe he really never left. But the one troubling thing the family was going through was that Facebook didn't take the video down. Oh, it's still up there, guys, with a graphic warning message. When BBC asked a spokeswoman for Facebook, she said that the video didn't violate any company policy. Perkins' initial Facebook Live broadcast was shared more than 1 million times, while a copy of the video has been shared more than 645,000 times, amplifying the family's grief and raising serious concerns about the role of social media in these types of tragedies. Roosevelt Rankins. Now, that's like almost every case we've gone over so far. Rankins is yet another to lose his life on live stream, but this one comes with a little twist. 34-year-old Rankins was a resident of Montgomery, Alabama, known to his friends and family as kind and sociable. He frequently used social media to stay connected with his loved ones and share moments from his life. Little did anyone know that his online presence would one day capture his final moments. January 23rd, 2020, Rankins was live streaming on Facebook from Stella Street in Montgomery. During that stream, a man crept into his home through the window and started shooting. A horrifying incident was broadcasted in real time, with many watching in shock and disbelief as he fell to the ground, lifeless. The live stream abruptly ended, leaving everybody stunned and desperate for answers. Now, following the shooting, Montgomery police were quickly called. Authorities confirmed the incident on Stella Street. The brutal nature of this broadcast hit the community hard, especially because Rankins was a father with 5 good kids. I mean, who's gonna take care of these kids now? And the ones following the incident,
So
police
I
conducted a
love
thorough investigation
this
trying to track down the perp.
cheetah
And around
print,
7 months later,
and I
they
feel
would make
like
a
mature
significant
women
breakthrough.
love cheetah
19-year-old
print.
Kari Taylor was arrested by
So I'm
U.S.
gonna
Marshals, Gulf
incorporate
Coast Regional
the
Fugitive
cheetah
Task
print.
Force, and was charged with Roosevelt's murder. Reports say Taylor had a confrontation with Rankins before Rankins went live, making him come back and carry out that fatal shooting. And being that Rankins was literally that neighborhood good guy, his death had a huge impact on the community. Friends and family mourned the loss. But the good thing here is they made a communal effort to make sure that his kids still had a good education. Juan Chamalan, November 5th, 2023. Filipino radio host Juan Chamalan, known on air as Johnny Walker, was tragically shot during his live broadcast from his home in Calamba, Misamis Occidental. Johnny Walker here was a well-loved personality on 94.7 Gold Mega Calamba FM. While streaming on Facebook Live, 2 men approached his home, ostensibly to make a public announcement. One drew a .45 caliber pistol and shot Chamalan twice, one in the lower lip and again in the back of the head. As viewers watched in horror, the attack, which was also captured on CCTV, shocked everybody as this abruptly turned from lively music to a deadly scene. The assailants, accompanied by a 3rd accomplice on a motorcycle, stole Chamalan's necklace before fleeing the scene. And despite being rushed to the hospital, he was pronounced dead a few hours later. Now here's the thing. Being that the entire ordeal was caught live on camera, the police got composite sketches of the suspects and were able to establish a motive. Chamalan had recently won a court case related to a land dispute where his radio station was located, which his widow believes may have been the motive. Of course, being the public figure he was, his murder drew widespread condemnation. Even the president of the Philippines, Bongbong Marcos, vowed swift justice, emphasizing that attacks on journalists wouldn't be tolerated in this country. All sorts of media and human rights groups would echo this sentiment. Sadly, his death is one of many that just happened to get caught in real time.
What's the mission? No, it's on the side of her head. This saying she's
been in touch with Yolanda, the mother featured in this.
Alright, now listen, I got a spicy take for y'all today. This lady right here, she went on a date with a man. And during the date, they started talking about social views, their social views, and also just politics in general. Now listen, if you want any advice, do not talk about these two topics ever during the date. Ever. And you about to see why. The conversation went completely left. Now before we get into this topic, this is her page, this is where you can find her, this is her TikTok account, this is where I got the story. Alright, so go check her out, give her a follow. Alright, so for the rest of y'all with me, make sure y'all watch this video to the end. Here's the clip of her and the dude having a conversation. Check this out.
Don't think we're in trouble. The thing that you say that you're not in trouble on and like it's a deal breaker for you. You're disregarding what I'm saying to my kids. I'm looking at you still with the kids are politically, I'm not willing to be anybody in the middle. Listen, hey, we never have to talk around social concepts, like we cannot be in the middle. I am where I am, and we're either arriving at that same spot, and we can talk about the nuances and the details of it, right? Because there's nuances to all of these conversations. But what I'm not willing to do is educate you on why climate change is a real concept and why it's great. When you said that, that was like a big red flag. No, you said it was close. You like to release it. You said the government was coming out with making it up. Did you? Snow days, like, we got you from right? That's my turn, man. Right? So, yeah, it's broken. Right? It's a real thing. I was just being funny. Like, on that topic, on that particular topic, the climate change, I was being funny. Clearly, you didn't think it was funny. It was a joke. It was a joke. You said that the government, I know, I said, there's no way they do that. I know that. I know it was a joke. You don't get my sister. You don't get it. Be a good human being. Because you're saying those people when you're referring to trans people.
Yeah.
That's not it. That makes you not be living in it. I never said that you're not a good human being. Because you have one experience, and now you're painting a whole picture, a whole community, an oppressed community, an already oppressed community of people. You want to further that. As far as you can be as far as you possibly can because of your experience. I'm spreading unity. I'm like, I'm trust me, Trent. I don't. I'm sorry, spreading. I'm not spreading anything. This is how I feel. You said the reason why you don't want your child to be in public schools is because they're teaching about pronouns. Please.
Yes.
Pronouns is a
Agree on that.
concept. Just like an adverb and a verb.
No, it's not.
Why does that bother people so much? I mean, you are not compatible.
Don't teach that in school. Leave kids to be kids.
Which is a huge aspect for me. So, I still feel like you're not truly listening. Like you're not trying to hear me out. You're just stuck on it. But you're moving it. Which is okay. I ain't getting it. It's okay. You're a single mother. So what does me being a single mother have anything to do with this? Because you're teaching your values and what you believe into your kids. So you have to understand what you have to believe in. You have to walk by. Even if I didn't have kids, I would stand on shit that I believe in. Because it's just right and wrong. Period. And you know you're dead wrong in a lot of ways. You need to at some point get there. You're in your 30s now. Like, you're dead wrong, especially as a black man. Like, you know you're dead wrong.
No, maybe it's just me, but I would have definitely just stopped talking and walked away after she said we're not compatible. She didn't look interested at all. She looked actually zoned out by his presence. And she's out recording in front of him. Like all of these flags that just said, walk away, brother, walk away. You gotta learn how to walk away because it's almost giving like you're begging. And we don't want that for you, brother. We don't want that for your kid. But what are y'all thoughts on this? I respect it at the end of the day. If somebody told me something I didn't like and I disagreed with it wholeheartedly and it was a big deal in my life, I walked away too. And she told him in the beginning stage instead of trying to figure out what she can get out of him before she just leaves him, which most people do. So to her for keeping it real in that situation. But what would y'all do in this situation? Would you still have gave that man a chance or his social views who's that important in your life that you feel like, that's a deal breaker for you, and especially for politics. Let me know in the comment section and share your experiences with your dates and share in the comment section. I want to hear about it. Alright, so this lady just went on a 2-part, maybe possibly a 3-part series on about how her niece slept with her man. This is crazy. Alright, so this is where I found the video. This is the original content creator of the content that you're going to see. Her name is Raven Dixon, but she goes by Zooty with the Booty on the top cap. So if y'all want to follow her for more updates, this is the account you can go follow just to give her proper credit. Also, if for those who don't have TikTok and watch the rest, just go ahead and continue to watch the video until the end.
I've been in the house all day binge watching movies, so I was watching Soul Food, and I got to the part where Cousin Faith was, Terry husband. So it inspired me to get up here and tell my story about my cousin Faith, because I know everybody got a cousin Faith around, regardless if it's a friend, a sister, a cousin, a niece, or whoever. So I got a niece that's the same age as me. Oh, before I start telling my story too, my last story time about Rena Center, y'all say that I'm long-winded, I got ADHD, I tell 10,000 many stories in one story. You have to tell certain details of a story so people can understand the story. Without the details, that's like a pie with no filling. So back to the story. I got a niece that's the same age as me or whatever. So she was dating this guy at the time, whatever. He was a younger guy. He was younger than her, but together they had like 4 or 5 kids or whatever.
Damn.
His brother had ended up getting into some trouble. Somebody had came and boom, pew, pew, at the house or whatever. I can't remember if they moved out because they feared for their lives or if the landlord ended up putting them out. All I know is they had to move. So they were staying in hotels or whatever. When they were staying in hotels, they kept applying for cribs, but they kept getting denied. So each night their money is getting lower and lower. I was dating a guy who owned properties or whatever. So I ended up asking my friend or whatever, could he bring a place to them? My niece was like, can you please ask them? I asked him at first, he was like, no, he didn't want to rent a place to them. He don't want to bring the family, all of that or whatever. So I let them stay at my house for a few nights because I was never really home for real. I was always staying at my man's house. But after a while go on, I'm going to come home. So I really needed them to find a place. 2 nights with them being into the townhouse, her boyfriend ends up going to jail. When he go to jail, I think he was in jail for like 2 weeks or whatever. He ends up getting a bond. When he got out, she was already on it. So she ended up going to jail like literally right after he got out. She sat in jail for probably I think 6 to 8 months, something like that. The whole time she was in jail, he had women in and out of the house. One day somebody calls me or whatever. This is how I end up finding out. Somebody ended up calling me and was like, go look at such live on Facebook. So the girl was up there on live drinking a Capri Sun and eating fruit snacks in her bed. And she was like, yeah, I'm in this bed, eating her kids' fruit snacks, drinking their Capri Suns. Then the other girl got up there and was like, yeah, we just made us another baby in that bed. This is one of his previous baby mamas. He got her pregnant in the house. So, my niece is in jail, going through it, oh my God, I can't believe So anyways,
That's neither here nor there.
my sister was living back down here now. I ended up going out one night with my friend. She lived in a different city than me. So she came and picked me up and planned for me to stay at her house after the club. But once we went to the club, I didn't feel like staying the night. So I ended up calling my sister to see if she had to come this out because she home in that city. Because she was like, yeah, she could pick me up, give me a ride. She come pick me up, I get in the car with her, whatever. And we talking to her, and she telling me how my niece's attitude had been real, real bad. So I was telling her, like, yeah, but my dude went around there yesterday, go fix her AC, and while I'm on the phone with him, her attitude was real bad. And she was like, tough. He ain't crazy. Put that shit together, sis. What is you talking about? She was like, he ain't stupid. I said, what you mean I ain't stupid? I was stupid. I was totally oblivious because I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. So she was like, listen, I don't got no stone facts or whatever. She was like, but I think they mess with each other. So I was like, maybe they mess with each other. So she just started like naming stuff. She was like, he had got her a car. She said that the friend had been from one car. She said he was giving her care credit to get the kids glasses. He had given her a gift card to go get some Victoria's Secret. I was like, what? So I ended up calling him, asking him about it or whatever. Of course, he denied it. I ended up calling her, asking her about it. Of course, she denied it. She started downplaying her own mama. Da da da. This is how I found out for a fact that they were. And I wasn't just speculating. 2 days after I found that out about them, that's when I ended up taking my trip up the road to prison. I went to jail though, you know, of course it took time before I got to prison.
Damn, everybody going to jail in this house.
Getting locked up or whatever. And while I was in jail, he still never admitted it. But I really wasn't talking to him like that because I knew it wasn't a lie. She ends up being a warning for a murder.
Damn.
Conspiracy to a murder. This is how everything was solid that they was dealing with John. Someone had ended up getting murdered in her house.
Wow.
And when they went on a hunt to go look for her, they ended up kicking in his house because he was the landlord of the house, and I guess they had got word that I don't know. All I know is that they found her at his house, blood on that kid.
I have so many questions, bro. I just don't even know
Where to start?
begin, honestly.
Me too.
Like, the proof was there. When the sister was like, girl, put it together, it was clear. But I try to, mind my business when it comes to people's relationships because it's like, see it. Then I'm not the first one to tell you because that's who they beef with first. So shout out to the sister for trying to be the one to put two and two together. But clearly, they was fucking around. And second of all, why did the sister even know all of this information? And why is she telling you all at the last second? Like, if she was doing all of those things for your niece, why didn't she tell you that in the jump? Why she didn't tell her, hey, wait a minute? This is why I'm out of my business most times when it comes to this shit. It just don't make sense. It just don't make sense. So many cliffhangers. Everybody was going to prison. What's up with that? Why is y'all going to prison? Can we get a second part to that? A third part to that? So okay, we get it. Your niece slept with your man. Clear as day. He was there naked when the police kicked in the door looking for who? Her. Damn. Well, got the gist of that. I just don't understand why you and what the hell is all the other shit around it? Like, what do y'all think?
Man, these messy stories be killing me. Okay, so I ended up taking that off.
We are falling apart times. And sometimes you need a little thing just to help you pay those bills and alleviate some of that the financial stress in your home. But let me tell you something. Before you let somebody in your house, you might want to do a little research on them so you don't end up like my girl Emma here. Now before we get into this story, this is where I found this messy story. Now she goes by the name of Emma. You can follow her here on her TikTok account for more updates on the situation. So make sure y'all follow her. Now for the rest of y'all just buckle up because y'all already know we about to get it together. Now, pretty much, this girl right here in this picture stole over $3,000 worth of jewelry, almost $4,000 worth of jewelry from Emma. Now, Emma goes on to show proof, receipts, and all of the things that she knows to show proof that this girl has actually stole from her. So I want y'all to watch this video to the end because you're going to need to. Check this out. Part 1 of Who the F*** Did I Let? Please excuse my
Hey, baby.
voice. I'm recovering from whatever sickness is going on right now. And
I can't move right now.
you're gonna want to stick around because it's crazy. This happens in a time span of literally 4 days. 4 days. You're about to find out how this stole over $3,000 worth of jewelry from me and other out of my house. So a little background, I'm a single mom to a little girl and I'm in school full-time, nursing school, and I work at one of the ERs here. I decided that in order to get into the spring semester for the actual nursing program, so working on my prereqs, I was going to need a roommate. So I had posted online, that I need a roommate on Facebook and stuff like that. And this girl messaged me, and she's the same age as me. We got to talking, found out she used to work at the same hospital that I currently work at. She also has a son that is like a year and a half younger than my daughter. We got along really well, like we just clicked really quick. She ended up coming over, checking out the room, we talked, we've been through a lot of the same stuff, so it's like, yeah, like, if you wanna rent the room out, like, totally, that sounds great. And I was like, I have food, like, you guys can just help yourselves. If you need me to, like, ever watch your son when I'm off, like, I don't mind it. The kids can stay together, like, that's fine. It's totally fine. Like, single mom, like, I got you, you got me, right? Right. So, this happened on a Saturday. Okay. Sunday, I wake up, and I was like, alright, I think I need to go get, like, some toilet paper and stuff, now that we got another 2 people living in the house. So I started like, hey, baby, think of like, like, I'm gonna go get some toilet paper. She's like, I can't think of anything. And then I asked her, I was like, do you just want to come with? So we go, and she wrote me a check for rent and everything. And I went ahead and I deposited it into my bank account. We spent all of Sunday together. Like, I cooked dinner, I fed her son, and all that. She asked me Sunday morning if I had any coffee because I was drinking my cold brew coffee. I take cold brew to work. Every morning I take it to work because I can't function without my coffee, right? It's like, yeah, you're fine. Like, you can have some. Don't worry about it. Well, I get up Monday morning and I put ice in my cup. Like, I'm fixing to walk out the front door to go to work, and I open my fridge and there's no coffee. So I was like, all right, let's go. I leave and I shoot her a text. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I shoot her a text. I'm like, hey, can you just like let me know when we run out of something? Obviously we ran out of coffee and like I take that to work, so I need to know these things. Granted, we have coffee at the hospital, but I'd rather not spend $7 on a coffee if I just have cold brew at my house. She texts me back. She's like, oh yeah, I went to Target and I bought some. I have it in the room with me. And I'm like, it's cold brew. Why do you have it in your room? You don't have a fridge in there. But I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, I went ahead and I ordered some for Walmart delivery. Like, they'll be here tonight, but nothing.
Why are you keeping your stuff in your room but you drinking hers?
She's moving in. I was like, I had 2 cameras. Like, I have one in my living room. And I have one out the front window that watches like the driveway and the front of the house and stuff like that. She's like, okay, whatever. So she's fully aware of the cameras that are in my house. However, I told her, I just have them for the dogs. Like, my dogs are out and about running around the house when I'm gone for 12 hours.
about him, like I'm not gonna be spying on you or anything like that. Which, looking back now, I should have. Why didn't I? I don't know. Maybe I'm just naive. Maybe I see the
No,
good
you
in
just
people
trust
and
it.
choose to ignore the bad. Maybe that's the fault of my own. So Monday,
Too trusting.
I'll see like the notifications popping up on my phone, like, you know, motion detected, living room, motion detected. But I just like swipe them away, whatever. And occasionally I'll look at one and I'll see that, oh, she's got the broom, like she's sweeping or something like that. It's like she's cleaning the house. I think anything of it. Come on Monday, everything's normal, everything's fine. She got home a little bit after I did. And she had texted me before she got home. She's like, oh, I'm at Target. I was thinking about pizza for dinner. Does that sound good? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's totally fine. I don't know how I didn't notice this, but this girl literally, like, walks into my house after I'm home. I've gotten off work and I've showered. And she's wearing my leggings, my seafoam green leggings. The only pair of seafoam green leggings that I have. And I'll insert a picture in here. I don't know how I didn't notice that. Maybe I'm just too tired. I didn't work all 12 hours. So that was crazy. Yeah. She came into the room with my leggings on. Like, she knocked on my door. She came in. She's like, have you seen my debit card? I lost it. I was like, no, I didn't. And she's like, can I look in your car? I was like, yeah, my keys are out there. Like, you can go look. Because Sunday we had gone, you know, to Dollar General, and then we ran to Ulta, and like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, you can go look, like, you're fine. She's like, I don't remember the last time I used it. I was like, I don't either. I was like, because I know that when we were at Dollar General, you use your phone for, like, Apple Pay. And she's like, So she goes out, and she looks at my car, and I'll insert a screenshot. Not here, but you can barely see it, but she's in my car looking for her shit. And then, for whatever reason, she continues to sit in my car and flips the lights on and off. What the fuck? Look. Come back for part 2. Tuesday morning rolls around. Nothing out of the ordinary. A really freaking long day. We had a whole bunch of just crazy stuff happen at work. So I was exhausted. I came home. She asked about how my day went. I told her we had this crazy trauma that came in. I told her about that. And that was that. I said, look, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go take a shower. I'm gonna study, and I'm gonna go to bed. She's like, okay. I go take a shower. And I get in my shower. And I turn to grab my razor to shave my legs.
Ew.
And my bright pink razor is nowhere to be found. So I'm like, that's weird. Like, I don't take it out of the shower. Like, it stays in the shower. That's crazy, right? So I'm like looking around in the shower. I'm moving the curtain. I'm looking outside of the shower. I'm looking behind the toilet. Like, I'm looking everywhere in the bathroom. Look, where the is my razor? And I didn't think anything of it. I don't know why. I don't know what is wrong with me, okay? And then calling the clan up or whatever. I was like, I can sleep. Like, I need to go to bed. So I go lay down and go to sleep. I was just really irritated, right? Wednesday morning rolls around. And this is where it gets good. This is it. I get up and I go to the bathroom and I'm thinking about how my razor just disappeared out of nowhere. And I'm sitting there and I was like, I'm gonna order another camera. So I do. I order the camera, which I'll screenshot here. Show you when I ordered it. Then I gotta get my scrubs on, and I only turn the bathroom light on when I'm getting ready. Like, I'd rather have lights off. It's cheaper that way. And I go grab my shoes, and I'm tying my shoes. I'm like bent down, and right next to me is my sink cabinet in my bathroom, and I see something on the floor. I get up, I look at it, and I immediately know what it is, and my stomach drops. And I will insert that picture here. Now, granted, the picture was taken after I'd already left the house with it. Was I gonna just fucking leave it? I don't know if you know what that is, but I used to work in jewelry, okay? That is a white gold metal ring sizer, which is attached to a ring that is too big for your hand with pliers, okay? And at that exact moment, I knew that something was wrong.
You fucked
Because
up.
that metal ring sizer was only on one ring in my entire jewelry box. And it was the most expensive ring that I had.
Oh, no.
So I practically throw my cabinet open. I grab my jewelry box out of there, and I see that I am missing two very important rings. One of them being the one that had the ring sizer on it, and another one being a teeny tiny little diamond solitaire that my daughter's father had tell her what's going on. Love her to death. She's like trying to get me to calm down. She's trying to get me to like think about it in other different perspectives, like that. But I can't. I'm just pissed. And then I go into work and I pull after like shift change. I pull my charge nurse over and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you. She's like, okay. I was like, it's nothing work related, but like I need your advice. So she and I go into an empty room. We stand there and talk about it, and she goes, you need to give her the option or give her the opportunity to return your things, or you need to go and file a police report. And I was like, okay, period. At this point, it's 7:30 or whatever. And then I was thinking about it. I talked about it with other coworkers. I'm like, this is just so like. Why she just doesn't go missing. So I go on her Facebook and I look her up. Don't see anything. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just Google her name. I Google her whole name, and guess what the pops up? This pops up. This was a month ago. She didn't think to tell me about this. Granted, I should have looked her up, but like, damn. This is a con artist because she seems like a genuine human being and she like for real. Anyway, come back for part 3 because now we're really dropping the good shit. So when I see that, I text my charge nurse, my work mom. I sent her this. I said, I need to go. And she looks over at me like a hawk, seeing it's right. And she goes, go. Goodbye. I said, what do I do? She's like, you leave here, and you go straight to the police department, you go file a report. I was like, okay, period. So I leave. I drive straight to the police department. I walk in, I live in a rural town, and I walk into this podunk little police station where there's like one window and there's glass, and I walk up to it, and there's 3 officers in there, and they all turn and look at me, and my voice breaks, and I was like, I think I need to talk to an officer about a theft. And they like, okay, So they go and they take me. I write a statement, which I'll show a picture, probably screenshot here.
I love receipts.
Proof. And then he says, after all of that, I give my statement or whatever. He asks all the questions, figure out like the total care, weight, all this stuff that's missing. He said, go home, go look around, see if anything else is missing. I'm gonna go look at pawn shops. I was like, okay. So I pull up my camera at the house. She's not home. I was like, okay, bet. So I leave the police department, walk into my house. First thing I do is swing up in the bedroom door to her room. And I'm going through this shit. I have no shame because I know this just stole my shit. Going through all of her stuff. And at the same time, I'm finding tiny things all over her room. Whether it's my daughter's special brush that I got to do her curls with because she's naturally curly hair. Or it's my top coat, my gel top coat. Or it's my UV nail lamp in the room.
This
Or it's
bitch
that
been
massive
teething.
pile of towels. Half of them dirty, half of them clean. And we wonder where the all my towels have been, right? I open up her closet, and there, lo and behold, is a mound of my clothing.
Well, mother
Okay? I'm
suck.
like, what the I'm going through all this shit. I'm like here's leggings, here's my shorts, like this is my shirt. I go in, and I'm dumping out like 2 of her baskets, and at the very bottom,
Damn, bitch been
underneath all kinds of
teething.
shit, there's my favorite shirt, which I will insert a picture of her wearing it here.
Wow.
What the fuck? And I'm literally fuming. I have a pile of my things, which I will screenshot and show right here.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't. Hands are absolutely. She just won't.
That were found in this girl's room that she had been in for 4 days, 5 days, 4.5, whatever. And I'm just like sitting there, I'm like, what the f***? Who is this bitch? jewelry that she stole from me, which was over $2,000 worth of jewelry. Well over 2,000. At this point, we're sitting at like $3,500 worth of jewelry. And he's like, okay, try to remain calm.
Alright, y'all. I'm gonna head out because it's been almost, well, she's been long. Hi, Lila. You just got on? I'm making a bag, girl. It's a cute little bag for a birthday.
And then I call my boyfriend's sister and I say, I need you over here. Like,
I think it's gonna turn out good.
SOS moment. I need you here.
How have
This
you
is what's
been?
going on. She flies over here. She's very confrontational, argumentative. Like, she's ready to just like lay into this when she gets here. Because I told her,
Hope you've
she
been
usually
well.
leaves the house around like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then she won't come back until like 10 or 11 o'clock. So I don't know what the fuck she's doing. So at this point, my boyfriend's sister's getting irritated. She texts her and she goes, you have two options, pretty much. She goes, you can return the items and get the fuck out of her house, or we can get the cops involved. Little does she know the cops are already involved. Yeah. So then,
I was on like 2 other times today. Today was a slow day.
so my boyfriend's sister calls her. And this whole time she's talking about,
Today was a really slow
just
day.
about to text Emma. I talked to my son this morning, and he gave them to me, and he said that he went in there while I was taking a shower, and he went through her stuff because he thought it was my stuff, and he likes to wear on his hands because he likes to wear them on his wedding ring fingers because he thinks they're pretty, and he likes to play like he's married, right? So she goes, yeah,
Alright, I'll see you tomorrow. Just messy stories.
the one that had the metal ring sizer on it. And then there's another one that's like blue, green, maybe it's like an emerald.
Just messy stories.
Thinking about it, like, I don't know what the fuck this woman's talking about. I don't know my jewelry. I don't know what ring she's talking about. Now at this point, I'm like, what the fuck else did she steal? Like, am I missing something? Like, what else? I already have a list of several else. What else is missing? And my boyfriend's sister's like, okay, so you have two in your
You
possession.
had a snow day
The seven
today.
things that are
Okay,
missing.
so you were home.
And she goes, yeah, I'm on my way.
Snow day means no school, right?
She is here. I have my audio on my voice memo recording when she is here, which I'm sure I will end up posting videos of those clips so y'all can do your thing from that. Basically, she comes in, and remember how she said that her son gave her the rings? She gets here, she walks in. My boyfriend's sister and I are sitting at the table over here when she gets here. She walks in, she goes, yeah, he said that he's playing with them, blah, blah, blah. And then he showed me where he put them, and he put them in your daughter's room, and I found them on her dresser. Do you want me to show you where they were? And I looked at her, and I was like, no. And Devin, my boyfriend's sister, was like, you can show me where they were. So they walk in the room, and she points to a section of the dresser, goes, oh, they were right here. And I grabbed them. And Devin's like, okay, well, you just told me on the phone that your son gave them to you this morning. She didn't have anything to say about that.
Alright, y'all. You was outside.
Let her back on.
Okay. Well, Lila, I'm gonna head out. I've been on quite some time now.
I'm sitting there with my jewelry box on the table. I'm looking at
So
everything.
we'll catch
And I
up
was like,
later, darling.
you know, that's two.
I'll try to come live tomorrow.
Several things that are missing. Where the fuck is the rest of my stuff? She's like, I don't know, like, I can help you look, like, have you really looked through your bathroom, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, I've looked through my bathroom. I've been home. I was supposed to work today. I've been home all day, looking through my shit. I've gone through my entire fucking house, and I cannot find my shit. She's like, well, I can help you look, like, we can go look at your daughter's room, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want you
Alrighty.
touching
See you
my shit.
tomorrow,
Like, I don't want you
Lila.
touching anything.
Bye.
She's like, well, I just want you to think that I did this. I don't want you to think that
Bye.
me and